one thing we could say, I think, right off the bat, is that neither you nor I nor Stanley McChrystal knows the right number of U.S. troops for Afghanistan. Now, I'm a supporter of his proposal. Let me just admit that up front, and I'll come back to it. But this business is not so precise that we can know exactly what the right number is. If it were so precise, do you think that David Petraeus, who was already in command of Central Command back in the winter, would have blessed a review process that led to the argument that 68,000 Americans, or maybe he wanted 75,000, because there were reports that Obama didn't give everything they wanted, but he gave most of it. Would Petraeus have approved a plan that he knew was 40,000 troops short without at least voicing that objection? In the wintertime, we didn't know that 68,000 troops, roughly the number that we've now got in Afghanistan, would be inadequate. We really thought it might be enough because we were hoping that we could concentrate these forces in the right places, the right key strategic zones. Even though Petraeus's manual had said back in 2006 when he wrote it at Fort Leavenworth that you need one counterinsurgent for every 50 people in the population, and that implies that you need 600,000 for Afghanistan. Even though there was no way we were going to get close to that number, Petraeus said, okay, we're going to have 100,000 NATO troops, a couple 100,000 Afghans. That's about half of 600,000. That's a pretty good start. And let's start in the south and the east. That's where the insurgency is strongest. We got about half the number we're supposed to have for the whole country. We'll concentrate them in the south and the east, and that's at least moving us in the right direction. And from all I can tell, General Petraeus was very comfortable with that basic logic. Lo and behold, 6 months later, the guy that Petraeus himself has helped appoint to the new position, General McChrystal, winds up saying, you know what? The logic was fine, the basic idea was fine, but the arithmetic was off a little bit. Turns out 68,000 Americans isn't quite enough. I might need 90,000 or 100,000. That's the quality of the methods we've got in this field. And part of what McChrystal is saying is, you know what? Now I've had 6 more months of data that Dave Petraeus and David McKiernan and Bob Gates did not have when they did the review back in the winter. And we've put down those additional forces, the ones that Obama approved in March. And they all arrived in the spring and the summer. And they went to different parts of the south and the east of Afghanistan. And they got put down in certain places. And McChrystal didn't want to move them around. He wanted them to go in and clear and then stay, because that's the way you win over the population. That's the way you also protect your own troops. If you're constantly re-clearing the same place you already cleared, because you get up and go and then come back, you're going to run into a lot more IEDs. So he wanted to put them down and stay. Well, he did that, and he found he didn't have enough people. So his little, he had isolated pockets where we had cleared and established some control, but we didn't have enough of a contiguous zone even through the south and the east of the country to get the economy going, to prevent the Taliban from having sanctuaries where, in the next town over or in the next village over. And so he said, I've redone the math, and even though the numbers are still apparently, in some flux, and he's got a range of it looks like he's asking for 90,000 to 100,000 total troops, 20 to 30,000 more, roughly. Just 6 months after Dave Petraeus, who kindly blurbed my book, and I love the guy, and I was lucky to go to school with him, and I think he's fantastic, but he had to suffer with the same methods the rest of us have to suffer with in this business, and that was to basically say, you know what, the math was a little bit off. Turns out we need about 30,000 more people than we thought just 6 months ago for the exact same job.